We haven't talked about Red Bull yet, and what
That's
more
true.
can you say superlative wise for Max Verstappen? It's now six in a row. They've won every race this season.
Incredible.
He's absolutely dominating. But to your point as well, we continue to see the maturity that
Yep.
Max Verstappen has developed, and obviously a lot probably comes off your plate when you've broke through and you've won that first title to be a world champion, and then you back end it with a
Mm,
second one. But he's just driving with utter confidence. I go back to even last week. I thought a great moment of maturity where it was trying to the media was trying to maybe blow up the Checo Max story once again, and they Max shut it down real quick. He
yeah.
shows a level of emotional maturity sometimes to get out in front of those things. And then, like you mentioned, he just does not put a foot wrong. You look in qualification yesterday, and he had that one shot. Lando goes to the top, and then that last lap, and we know the Red Bull is not the best at firing the tires up. Max nails it.
Nails it. And it's interesting because I've said this a couple of times, and people have mixed reactions when I say this, but I do see lots of similarities between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. When they are consistent, when they're on the winning streak, when they know what it takes, and when they get into that rhythm, it's really hard to like knock them aside and get them to make mistakes. But truly watching the growth of Max Verstappen over the years has been incredible, and I think everyone's waiting for him to put a foot wrong to be able to win or get something right, which is kind of weird way of driving. If it's just like, if Max does something, but as Lando kept saying, I'd be better if Max wasn't here. Like that's an interesting mindset to have as a driver.
I think it bears asking. I'm just looking at the races coming up. Hungary, Belgium, home race for
Yeah.
Max at Netherlands, then Italy, Singapore, Japan. How many races in a row could we potentially see Max win? He's strong at all these tracks. The Red Bull, it's fast, it's dependable. It's they check all the boxes right now. Is there a point where you think he could slip up and drop a race?
I think it's absolutely possible that the man slips up, but I think this is massively hypotheticals right now. I think we could sit here and ponder what is it going to take for Max to slip up. The guy's also very good in all weather conditions as well. Like Max does very well in the rain. There is a very, I mean, even Christian Horner was asked this, and he was like, "There's no way we're winning every single race, of the season." But it's not
It's not unfathomable
at
based
this
on
point. We're
what we
halfway
have
through the
seen.
season.
I'm pretty sure. I think some betting spots have even taken Max off the line in terms of winning the race,
No
because at
way.
this point it would just be giving away money. Like what? How do you put the odds at that? The man is just such
Great
an odds
storyline.
on favorite to he is at a level right now of a true champion and a one of a kind champion, and the things that he
That's,
continues to do
I love that as
continues
a
to impress.
tagline. Betting services don't like Max Verstappen. They lose too much money.
So let's talk about his teammate, because
Yes.
it's now five straight races.
Yeah.
Checo Perez hasn't made it into Q3. I think this one was more a little bad timing, that he had talked about it. Kind of got left out a little bit with that red flag. He was
Yeah.
at the front of the queue, and then we saw the track evolution was just major, because those last laps, it was just everyone was going to the top of the timing sheet. But he continues to just leave those little things out there and makes these little mistakes, and we've seen it now where he's just constantly playing from behind. He's trying to play catch up, and he's usually such a good driver of navigating his way through the field. And I think the damage control today to finish in sixth, pretty good. But what's the sentiment? Take me inside of the Red Bull trailer. Take me inside the mind of Christian Horner, Helmut Marko, especially as you look at it. Helmut Marko had come out and said, hey, we like Checo. Checo is good. in the race. And I think he's a very, it's hard to sit in that other seat
Yeah.
next to Max Verstappen. So take me through what you think some of those conversations may be.
It's an interesting one because I think Helmut Marko and Max Verstappen really balance each other out. If there's a microphone, Helmut Marko is there and saying something where you're just like, oh my, is this like a strategy? Does the team like send him out when they want to distract people because there's something else happening? And Max is the complete opposite, that he just kind of shies away and stays away from the media as much as he can. So there's always an interesting balance there. I think it always sits somewhere in the middle. Look, I don't want to say it's a cursed seat, but it's some incredible drivers have sat in that seat. Look at how well Alex Albon is doing right now. It looks like he's on a rocket ship, and he's putting that Williams where that Williams probably shouldn't be right now. And that man used to sit in that seat where Perez is right now. Daniel Ricciardo did incredibly well in that seat and in that car and as a Max Verstappen teammate. And there's a reason why either of these drivers decided to try and test their luck elsewhere, and they want to come out of the Max Verstappen shadow, which must be really difficult to be in, because as we've just been saying, that man doesn't put a foot wrong, and his growth has been exceptional. He hasn't steadily grown like he has. You look year on year how well that he is doing as a driver, and it's pretty exceptional to watch. Or those, Red Bull has a short fuse in terms of we need you to deliver and we need you to deliver fast. And I think right now where Perez is a little lucky is that Max more or less has this championship in the bag, and so does Red Bull. And so they're kind of like, if you show up, it's fine. If you don't, it's okay. I think that he does have that in a very weird way. I think he has that is helping him a little bit right now, is they don't have a fire underneath them right now, them being Red Bull as the Red Bull team, because they're kind of doing okay, as we just talked about that. Max has won nearly every race, but something is going to have to change. But my fear with this is they keep changing the drivers and the grass isn't always greener elsewhere. And again, I remember, what was it, 2 years ago when we were stunned that maybe Checo Perez wouldn't have a seat on the grid, and he's a phenomenal driver. And when he lost his seat out, when Aston Martin kicked off and started their new team after being, away for 60 years, Checo obviously lost his seat, and everyone was very shocked. And we were all saying, there's no way that guy doesn't have a seat on the grid for the next year. It's not possible. And now here we are thinking, where's Checo Perez? What's happening? So I don't know. I would love to see Red Bull just hold on to a driver for as long as they can and just do everything they can, again, to boost that confidence, to figure out what it's going to take. No one's going to beat Max Verstappen right now in that seat. That car and him are just one right now.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.